else too. I've got all those other, we've got all those other tasks that have to be done with the school improvement and the school and community and the climate analysis. And it's just, ugh, it's piling up on me here. But I think I can do, now, remind me again, I know we asked a couple of times, but there is a SIAP, the School Improvement Action Plan.
Yes.
We need to do that as well, right? Or is that the one we're doing in the summer?
That's the one we're doing in the summer.
Okay.
Right now we're skip and cap.
Okay. So the almost skip and cap.
Yeah. So the way it originally was, we were doing skip 1 and 2 now, and cap 1, and then skip 3 and 4, along with SIAP would be in the summer.
Okay.
But
I'm gonna try to get as much of these done as I can before summer session.
Dr. Robertson said that we don't have the luxury of 15 weeks to get everything done like we do now.
Right.
That's why I do it now, so you'd have a lot of it done, so you could just make corrections and make adjustments or whatever for the summer. You wouldn't be really doing the whole thing from scratch.
Right.
Mm-hmm. So that's where we are right now.
Yeah, I agree. And I think I might stop on the OMA for just a minute and look at some of the other stuff and see what I can do.
Mm-hmm.
So that I can do some of these simultaneously, because I was trying to just knock out one in its entirety and then go to the next one and then go to the next one and go to the next one. I don't think that's going to work out real good for me. So the school improvement one, though, I did a lot of this past summer.
Right.
So I wonder if I can use part of that.
Yeah, and I think that's what he was talking about when he was saying there's certain parts we'll get to that we see where we've already done some previous stuff, so we can just cut and paste.
Right. I hope so, because I'm getting anxious. I want to get some of this done.
Yeah. And that's why I said I want to take some of the artifacts and things that I've done and start submitting them to
Right. But see, now I did that for first semester. Everything that we did in the first semester that could go somewhere, I stuck it in there already in task stream.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to do that for the semester 1 stuff that we did. But like the even so far as the internship hours, the things that I did to get my internship hours, I went and posted them in the various places too. So I don't have any of that I have to look at again. I don't have to touch that at all.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that will help me as far as getting everything in task stream.
So are you saying you're not submitting evidences again for semester 2?
Yeah, I will. But like everywhere that my everywhere the APTL and the APSL could go, I put it.
Right.
Everywhere my internship stuff that I did, I put it in its little places. Now I submitted the APTL and the APSL where it was supposed to be as well, and I also submitted in that last little portfolio folder or whatever the documentation on my internship hours. But I went ahead and everywhere it said I could post those same activities elsewhere, I reposted it there too.
Right.
So that when I get done with the OMA, I'll go in, and when I post it to task stream, I'll post it everywhere it can possibly go.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't have to touch it again. I don't have to go back and reinvent nothing.
Right, right. And so that's what my plan is to do like you said. I'm going to sit down and I'm going to post my things for the ALMA, like you said, clinical internship hours I'm doing, and then any of the competencies that I have met, I'm going to put that in there. So that part is done.
Yeah, and we won't have to revisit that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, where we are now on the calendar, I know we're on spring break for Gardner Webb, so that's why we didn't Zoom yesterday with Dr. Robertson. But next week for discussion board is supposed to be the interview, the chair of the intervention team, and the IEP meeting. That's what's due on discussion board. And our discussion next week with him will be about the principal's role in special education services.
Right.
That's what we're supposed to talk about on the 12th.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah, so we should have read the Principal's Guide, Chapter 7. And then those March 20th, it'll be on the staff selection, contracts, evaluation, and the law. Review our HR websites for local LEAs, teachers' rights, managing human resources, assessing hire and retention in local LEAs, and managing human resources, assess employee evaluation systems in local LEAs. And that's Principal's Guide, Chapters 3 and 4, and Resource Management, Chapter 5, and Discussion Board 8, Interview and Administrator, their HR practices, and Discussion Board 9, Interview and Administrator for Employee Assistance, Compensation Plan, and Benefit.
Right.
So that's what we got for the next 2 weeks. That's a knockout discussion board 7, 7A, 8, 9, and be ready to talk to him.
Right.
For the 2 Zoom sessions. Sorry, out.
Yeah. And I'm finding that the what was it, that resource management book is a really easy read too. I mean, it's got a lot of information in it.
Yeah, it is easy.
And some of the Principal's Guide, the law thing, it's hard for me to follow sometimes. I mean, it just sometimes I'm reading it and I'm like, okay, well, so what am I supposed to get? What am I supposed to be getting?
Yeah, I like everything but the law part. When it's this statute of that, I don't like it. Right.
Well, and it's because, okay, well, I don't know what I'm supposed to gain from it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what I'm supposed to be focusing on. So I've been trying to kind of look at the questions in that guide that they gave us for Unit 1, School Law, and kind of go by those questions. So as I'm reading, I kind of ask myself, did I answer that question yet?
Right. Is it making sense?
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to do on that. And I know he said to, the questions in the discussion board and the questions on that little sheet that he gave us, well, he didn't give us, but the sheet that I printed out for each of the resources.
Mm-hmm.
He's the discussion board stuff, we're entering in Blackboard, but are you putting the answers to like the textbook guided question things? Are you putting it on like a flash drive or saving it in a file or something like that so that you can pull it up later if you need to?
Mm-hmm. Those things that we talked about, all those little off the wall questions that said answer this, answer that. I have done that, create a Word document, and I just labeled it miscellaneous questions.
Okay.
And I have typed it up.
I started a folder like that, but I was like, I thought somebody had asked one time if we were supposed to include that in our artifacts at the end, or just keep it just in case somebody wants to see it. So, and I wasn't clear. I think my computer stopped for a moment, or I had an interruption in internet connection or something. I didn't hear the answer. So, and we'd already moved on by the time my computer started back again. So I was like, oh, well, okay, well, I'll just keep putting it in my computer, and then when we get to the end, I'll ask the question again.
Well, I know when we asked before, he said to do it, but he said hold on to it. He said because at the end, if they ask for it, you would have it to produce.
Right. Okay. Well, that's what I thought he had said one time before too, but I didn't know if anything had changed, because I know way back our second Zoom, or maybe third one, I don't know, but they had a meeting, and what they had thought wasn't true, and they had to correct something then. So I was like, oh my Lord, okay, well, if we're going to correct something, I need to hear it.
Yeah. So that's why I was like, I'm good either way. Like I said, I saw the little miscellaneous questions, and I created, like I said, a Word document. I labeled it miscellaneous questions, like you said, with a folder. I got it saved on the computer and on the flash drive. So if they ask for it, whenever they ask for it,
we got it. Yeah. That's what I'll do too.
So I got all those bases covered.
Well,
yeah, Gwen sent a text that she had just got home to give her 5 minutes, and she would join us.
Okay.
So the good thing about this is we have it on, we're recording it. So even if you can't make it, you post it, then you can watch the recording.
Right.
And then see what all you missed.
Right. Well, and I bought the program, so I'm not limited on my time. So we got plenty of time.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I am limited, sort of, but it's not the 45 minutes, so.
Right. Where they flash and say, you get ready to end, and then you got to end and go back in with a new Zoom number.
Right. Yeah, so mine is the same Zoom number every time.
Oh, okay. Well, that's great. I know when I do it, got to find something. Got to find another number.
Yeah, mine, because I bought the program, or bought privileges to the program, or whatever you want to call it, it gave me a permanent Zoom ID number. So it'll be the same one every time. So how was school today?
School today was good. One of my staff members, she's moving with her husband to Alabama.
Oh, my.
And so he starts his new job on Monday, the 12th. So today was her last day.
Oh, my.
Yeah. And so I hate it because that's all we've had in my room is turnover. And I mean, it's good because the kids have to learn about change and transitioning, and you're not going to always have the same thing all the time. We try to keep it as steady as we can for them. But it was something that she had no control of. She told us as soon as her husband got offered the interview, didn't mean he was going to be accepted. So he went down and he interviewed, I think, 4 other people. And in the beginning, they said, well, we'll get back with you within 2 weeks and let you know if you got the position. So he interviewed kind of like 8 o'clock that morning, and he knew 2 o'clock that afternoon he had the job.
Wow.
Real quick.
That was good.
And I was like, if you accept, we need you to start March 12th.
Oh, my.
So February 19th to boom, March 12th. So they didn't really have a choice. So she worked her notice, and today's her last day. So she's spending tomorrow packing, and they're literally moving Friday. Driving out on Friday. So, yeah. It's a big ordeal. So that was good. Kids were good. Teaching them how to do division by using equal groups. Starting to grasp the concept. So that's fascinating in itself. And I'll probably just, once we spend next week on it, probably one more week, and then let's kind of review between multiplication and division to make sure they have the concept down. And from there, I'll get myself to spring break.
Yay!
Yep.
Yeah, we are working. Hey, Gwen.
Hey, can y'all hear me? Is my computer working today?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
You're so silly. It's my classmates.
Yeah.
You want to say hi really fast? Okay, say hi.
Hi. She's so cute.
Bye.
Yeah, you see the light? Okay, go sit in your chair. You can have one. Yeah, with strawberries. Go sit in your chair. Pink. Here. You got them here. All right. All right. What are we discussing today? Oh my God. I'm sorry. You know, I realized I was going to go put in my put in my discussion board, and I still had my last discussion. What was it, number 3? The one about the financial responsibilities or something. I still had it in the draft. I was like, why hasn't anyone responded? And I had it in draft. And I think I still forgot to push the submit button. Go back. Yeah, it's still not in there, is it? Oh, so I'm gonna go push that submit button.
Submit.
Oh Lord, I do that too because I'll open it up in like the big screen so I can see what I'm typing and how it looks. And then when I close it back to the smaller screen again, sometimes I click the wrong button and it puts it in as a draft, and I'm moving along my merry way, and I'm like, okay, well, why is that not graded yet? Why is that not this or that? And I'm like, oh, because I haven't submitted it yet. Duh. What we were talking about.
I don't know.
Do. And before you came on, Gwen, we talked about going into, since this is spring break, going in for the next 2 weeks, we were talking about what was coming up. And I can get my screen pulled back up here. We were talking about the discussion board, 7A, where you are to interview the chair or a member of your school's intervention team and talk about the official 90-day process and if your school employs a 3-tier intervention system prior to the 90-day process. And then discussion board 8 and 9, where you're interviewing an administrator with human resources. And then also, we talked about those questions that were in addition to, we don't have to turn them in on Blackboard or anything, but they were printed, they were with, there were like 2 sheets or 2 documents. One was for the law book that we're reading, and the other was for the resource book that we're reading.
Okay.
And talked about keeping those on either a flash drive or a file or both, so that if they needed that later, you could get your hands on it.
Okay. And where's that located? Where are those sheets?
Yeah, so this is where, remember at the very beginning in January when we talked about this, it says that you would read the resource management book on page 31, choose a question between 2 and 6, and answer the question.
Sounds familiar.
And we was like, well, where do we put it? And then like, hold on to it in case we ask for it, you'll have it. Those are the questions she's talking about.
Yeah, okay. It's on the course and unit objectives tab on the left-hand side in Blackboard. That's where you find those documents. And it has like each little chapter outlined and the questions that you should be able to answer for that chapter.
Okay.
So
I'll make sure I print that out.
Yeah.
Or save it. Okay.
Yeah, and I was telling Demetria, I'm still working on my task 2 and 3. I think I can get them both done at the same time, but I need the rest of the schedule and how we're going to assess whether it was effective or not and all that kind of stuff. But I just have not been able to get up with my principal. We've just been so busy the last couple of weeks with discipline stuff, and we had a threat that somebody was coming to shoot the school up and all kinds of things. And
I think it's a statewide issue, because I think that's something that
I know. I think it's in water. I think they're drinking from the same water fountain or something. I don't know.
Several of my students have been called to the principal's office, and they've been doing investigations about certain stuff, and a couple kids got suspended, and I was just like, I don't know what's going on, but they're obviously taking these threats very seriously.
Right.
So,
well, in lieu of recent activity, it's good that they do, because you just can't tell anymore.
But the problem is once they feel like the threat is gone, they have to, like, this has to be a consistent thing. You can't just be like, oh, it was a shooting, so now we're going to do this, this, and this, and then by May it's going to just it's going to lay off.
Right.
So if they're doing it consistently and they're going to keep these protocols, like my county has a whole new, we had suicide and threat training today. It's like, it's good, but are y'all going to stick with it? Or is it something that's like, oh, we haven't had any incidents in months or a year, and then people feel like it's not needed.
Right. Well, and I think that happens so often in education. We change what we're doing so often to fit the most popular thing in the news that we don't verify if what we're doing is working before we change and do something else, because something else dramatic happened,
Yeah, and my county's quick to do that, because the last school shooting resulted in 2 of our schools have open, like, an open campus, and one of the main breezeways that was connected between the main building and the cafeteria building, they decided to seal it up, and then that's when they started giving everyone security badges and putting those locks, like those security locks on the doors. That was good, but still people can walk in there and not our whole school isn't secure.
Right.
So.
Well, and we talked about something today too. We have policies and procedures in place. When we were talking about our safety plans and all that kind of stuff at the beginning, I really didn't look at it close enough to realize that we had a tornado drill today. First one we've had in quite a while. Well, we were a little bit discombobulated because the way our building is structured, we have big glass doors on each end of the hallway. And so the middle school is just one hallway with those big glass doors on the end. And then high school is a hallway right above the middle school. So you come down the stairs to a hallway that has glass on both ends. That's not really a good place to be in a hurricane or a tornado. You know what I mean? And so there really is no safe place for them to be on our end of campus. We'd have to go all the way across campus for a truly safe place, unless we moved them to the small break room and the small office waiting area outside of our principal's office that is kind of enclosed. So I mean, we made the plan that the high school goes down on the middle school hall, and we all line up and face the lockers and get down into a small ball and, so forth and so on. But that's really not a safe place to be. So in the event of a true weather emergency,
you improvise.
We would have to do something different than what we practiced. So, that's something that we're going to have to discuss in the sit team to come up with a better plan of where we need to evacuate to, because, I don't want to be in the hallway with the wind blowing through. So,
I hear you on that one.
And I'm not going to say, y'all stay here while I go over here. Good luck with that.
So it depends on what day it is, right?
Yeah, well, okay.
Safety first.
Be mean to me today, I'll let you blow away in the wind. But I hadn't thought about, I read the plan that we would go downstairs and we would be in the hallway and we'd face the lockers and we'd, crouch down in a small position and so forth and so on. But it didn't dawn on me until we practiced it today that, well, okay, but you've got great big glass doors on each end of the hallway. It's really not safe. So
that's not
I was
safe.
like, oh, we need to bring that up.
That's got to be reworked.
That's true.
Yeah. So it kind of made me wonder, what other things did I miss? That I just glanced at and thought, oh, yeah, that sounds good. But then I didn't walk through it in my brain to see, would it really work in practice, or was it just sound good on paper?
Right.
That kind of made me think again about what I need to be looking at. So
when that happens, like you said, it sounds good on paper. And when you actually put it to practice,
good
you
job.
realize there's a flaw.
Well, and even the administrators were like, wow, we might need to rethink this. I was like, yeah, we might.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
Anyway.
Well, do you think that Cynthia is going to be able to, has anybody heard from her? I haven't heard anything.
Now, I've checked my phone. I don't have anything either.
She may not be off work yet either. We have parent-teacher conferences tomorrow night, so I'll be at school until 7 o'clock. I don't know what schedule you guys are on. Do you guys have parent-teacher conferences?
We're having ours next week. I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, and Friday.
Yeah.
Next week for us.
Yeah.
So how do you guys do that? You do it like during the school day, or?
No, Monday will be after school, and Tuesday is our designated day to stay late for those parents that don't get off work till like 5 and 6 o'clock. So like you will be staying until 7, and then on the 16th is an early release day. So the kids are gone at 11, and so basically we're staying from like 11 to 4 to get the last of the parents. But we are required to have 100% participation. So if the parents, for whatever reason, after you've given them 3 days, come into the building, cannot come into the building, then you have to have a conference over the phone. But 100% is the expectation, and there's no excuse. So, unless they don't have a cell phone and no car, that type of thing, yes, you have to email them or something. I don't know, but you got to show proof that you reached out to them. And like some of the teachers, because of the kids they need to talk to and the length of how much time they need to talk to parents, they're also having conferences this week. Like they decided to stay back like Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from like 3:30 to say 5:30. So they're doing it within 2 hours of their own time, just so they can have that 100%. But me personally, I'm doing next week. I'm doing Monday, Tuesday, Friday.
Right. Yeah, we just have one day. We let students out at 1, and then we have conferences from 1 to 7.
That's a good idea. Except for the night shift people.
Right.
But otherwise, that should hit most of them. Right. I wish we could get that. Ooh, yes. Yummy.
Well, we have had phone phone conferences and have people kind of fill in and let a teacher come out of a classroom and have a conference call.
Right.
But for the most part, we probably have, I'd say we have about 10%, maybe 15%. We don't have a lot of parent participation at all. We can call them and they'll say they'll be there and they won't show up.
Right.
And, being the alternative school, we don't have a whole lot of things that we can do to make them come in,
Right.
So it's just unfortunate that, a lot of kids just don't have that support at home. I mean, they just don't. It's sad.
Have y'all ever tried feeding them to get them to come in?
Mm-hmm. We feed them every year.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And one year we even tied it in with some awards and some door prizes. And still, I mean, it's just, it's like pulling eye teeth to get them to come to school.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't want to. And, our phone numbers never work half the time. And,
right.
And sometimes you can't find where the students are living. They're not with mama this week. They're with aunt so-and-so. Or, they've been with grandma for the last 3 weeks, but I don't know if he's still there. And I'm like, you don't even know where your child is. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly.
Makes no sense.
Mm-hmm. I can't imagine living like that. I don't know how some of the kids make it to school. I mean,
oh yeah.
Some of the kids, I'm just glad they came to school that day because nobody knows where they're staying.
Mm-hmm. That explains a lot. Why, like, if they have an unstable home life, how you expect them to go to a school and act right?
Right.
That's exactly right.
So sad.
Yep.
So what's our upcoming, what is on the, I know it's on the OMA 3. And Demetria, we kind of talked about this a little bit last time. What's going on with the SIP? Have you gotten a chance to get into it since we chatted?
I read it, but I haven't really gotten into the meat of it. And I need to go back over it again. But my understanding of it is we are doing the stakeholders and community involvement plan, and we have to create a skip team.
Create a what?
A skip team. Working with our site supervisor. It said we're supposed to create a skip team and work with them to reach the stakeholders and the community to go over our, whatever our need assessment is.
Oh my goodness.
That's what I got out of it. Because the first thing I thought is, who wants to create another team? I was like,
well,
I really don't.
I don't want to.
Right. Well, this could be your sit team too. This could already be your sit team. That's what I thought about, because the sit team is kind of responsible for marketing and soliciting parent involvement and community involvement and that kind of stuff. So it could already be that your skip team for our purposes could be your sit team, and you can use what your sit team is already doing and just capitalize on that.
But the problem is my SIT team isn't doing that. It's on our school improvement plan, but other than updating our websites, which I don't know the last time a website got, our webpage just got checked, or trying to do like these parent nights and curriculum nights, I don't think anything has been done.
Right.
Well, maybe you could help with updating the website.
Oh, I don't even have time. My principal has thrown me fully into my internship. Like, I'm running the after-school remediation program, and I almost was like, I can't do this. I was going to be like, I don't want to be a principal anymore, because I had to. I'm so serious. This week has been my first week, and I had to learn about buses, make a bus list, do bus routes. I had to make the schedule for the after school. She handled the hiring of the teachers, but they have to follow after me. And certain teachers, who've been there 15, 20 years, they're like, they're questioning and challenging every single decision I make.
Right.
Because it's not the way that they would do it. So they were trying to call me out about nonsense stuff, and I was just like, yeah. And it's not even the kids or the parents. Like, I've had parents call me, just having questions about stuff, but all of those phone calls ended on a positive note. But these teachers, oh my goodness. I was like, ooh, I don't know. I don't know if I want to do this because it's been testing my patience. It really has.
Well, but you're going to have some real good experience when you get done, though, girl.
Yeah, but I feel like my classes are suffering, too. Like, fortunately, this past 2 weeks, my kids have been working on a biography project. So I've been doing mini sessions, and then they've been doing research and stuff on their own. So I've had time to get everything together. But, like, after we finish our presentations this week, we're starting to look into a novel and stuff, and I don't have time to teach and do what she wants me to do.
Right.
And then she was telling me, like, oh, you can't leave until all the buses have returned safely, because I'm the site administrator for this. So I've been late to pick up my child. I was just like, oh. I was like, I'm still a teacher. But she's using me like an administrator. And I was like, it's what I wanted, and it will build experience. I mean, I could say that I know how to do all of these things once I finish, but I need to finish the program first. And I'm behind on my assignments. I'm getting behind when I was ahead. It's okay. I almost texted y'all the other day, like, I need to come to Jesus, because I was almost going to fuss out a teacher. I was going to say, Demetria, Tammy, Cynthia, what would you do? What would you do? Yeah. Let me just show you this little email. I would block out the name, and then she'd be like, what would you do?
Oh, no. Yeah, I have to do that every once in a while, too. I have a really good, trusted friend at work, and I'll get something to come across my desk, and I'm like, oh, no, they did not. Let me just go talk to Miss B back here. I mean, oh, Lord, look at this. Look what am I supposed to do with that? She'll look at me and go, girl, you're more diplomatic than I am. Just take a deep breath. You know how to do it. Girl. But sometimes you do just need to, let somebody else look at it. That's one thing, honestly, that my principal is having to deal with. She wants to hold everything close to the chest. I don't want to share with you. I don't want you to be in my business. I don't want to have to explain to you why I'm doing and what I'm doing and where I'm doing and, all this other stuff. And it's not, I understand. I do, because she's new. This is her second year as the principal, third year in administration total. So I understand. She's, trying to prove herself. She's, trying to get her feet under her, and I do understand. I really do. But at the same time, I told her, I said, great leadership comes with great confidence in the people that you hired. You need to let us make you look good. Give us some things to do. Give us some idea of what you want it to look like, and then let us roll with it. That's what you hired us for. So, we want to do a good job. We want our school to be good. So trust us that we want success like you do. And if it needs to look a certain way, then that's what you need to tell us. Make it look like this, and then let us do it. And she's, it's hard for her to turn loose of that stuff, though. It's hard for her to say, this is my baby, and I want it to look like this. Y'all roll with it. But she don't have to.
Yeah, micromanaging.
Yes, very much. She's not as bad now as she was beginning of the year last year, but it's still, she still got it too close to the vest.
So. I've been trying to micromanage, but when I do, people they be like, "Oh, I'm so tired. I'm so overworked," and then they end up slacking on stuff. So then it all falls on me again. So that's what I don't need. But like for instance, we said for the after school, we're gonna track the students' progress through the program. So we're gonna take their we were doing a baseline data, and I wanted to do, well, my principal and I wanted to do a formative assessment. Nothing too complicated, just something to state where they are. But the teachers were like, no, this will take too long. It will take all week. We don't have as much time. So why don't we just use the second quarter benchmarks? I said, fine, but I need that data. And I told them that they have until tomorrow to turn in that data. Do you know how many teachers have turned in that data? One. One teacher has turned in that data. And then the other one was like, she requested for an extension until the end of this week. And I was like, okay, that's fine, because we're going to have our debriefing meeting with the principal on Tuesday. But the others, the main ones that were complaining about how they didn't have time to do a formative assessment during the after school have not even collected the data, and they're like, yeah, I already have that. And it shouldn't be a problem for me to get it, and da-da-da-da. So I'm just wondering what kind of excuse they're going to come up with tomorrow when I'm like, I'm going to attach their names. Yeah, and I'm going to call them out and be like, you did not turn in this data that you promised. Yeah.
Yep, kind of goes with that story. If you give a mouse a cookie.
The what story?
If you give a mouse a cookie.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that one, this is where you respectfully agree to disagree, and you remind them of the deadline.
Right.
And you say, no, deadline is I close the business 5 p.m. Because when you extend it and you say, okay, I can work with you till Friday, I know a lot of things are going on, then Friday's going to get it Monday, and then come Tuesday for the meeting, you're not going to have it. Yep. And then again, it's that he said. So like you following it up with an email showing that you're requesting the information and you're reminding them of the deadline covers you, because then you're showing proof. I reached back out to you. I asked what support you needed. You gave me nothing. You said, oh, this is easy. I got this data. I can do this. I can do that. Okay, well, where's it at?
Well, the principal was saying right there in the meeting when they were having this whole debate about the formative assessment. So she was there for that first half. And then, she's attached to all of my emails to them about the reminder. So she's seeing it.
That's good.
She's seeing it. Yeah, I ain't taking the blame for them. Not at all.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, it's been a migraine. Why is she crying? I can't really hear.
He probably wants mommy. Daddy can't do it right.
Probably. That's the way mine always are.
Yeah, mine too. Yeah.
Oh, Lordy.
I don't know what I'm about to do. I'm about to run away. Y'all going to see me in an asylum.
You can come to my house for a little while.
It don't matter where you go. It's all the same.
Oh, no.
Cocoa Puffs. Yeah. That's why I'm upstairs in my bedroom. Normally when we Zoom, I'm downstairs at the kitchen table. But it's like just too much going on. So I said, okay, I'm going to my room. I put myself in timeout.
Yeah.
If my door's closed, that means do not disturb. Do not even come to the door and knock. When my door's open, then it's open door policy. And I taught my kids early on the 3 B's: blood, bones, and breathing. If it's one of those, you can disturb me, even with the door closed. But if it's not one of those, Do not disturb.
That's
I
right.
like that. I have to remember that. I tell my students that, but I never thought of passing it on to my child. But she's on 2,
Yeah.
so it's a little early.
Yep. No, it's never too early to start training. Never too early.
She don't know what blood
I
is.
got mine
Well, she
all
knows a little
within the
bit.
shape. And now my babies are 11 and 9.
Wow.
And my son is the 11-year-old, and my daughter is the 9-year-old. The most mature between the two of them.
Oh, of course,
And
yeah.
I think it's too, not only because girls mature faster than boys, but I think too because she's got older siblings that are girls, and she just gravitates towards it. And so she's got it, and she'll be the one telling him, "Do you not see mommy's door closed?" That means don't bother mom. She could be sleeping. She could be taking a hot tub bubble bath, watching Netflix. She could be reading a book. It doesn't matter. Mommy's door's closed. We don't bother her.
Yeah.
And he'll say, "But I got to ask mom about my soccer. I can't find my shin guards, or I need my cleats." And she'll be like, "Tough. You wait till mommy opens the door."
Yeah.
I was like, "Well, I'm just going to ask." She said, "Okay, I warned you. Go ahead and knock and see what happens." Back and watch the drama unfold. Because he will be stupid enough to knock on my door and disturb me.
Yeah.
And then I have to rip him a new one because he broke the rules. And then she's sitting there just laughing and pointing her finger going, yeah, she loves it. She loves it. And he would do it again.
He's her entertainment.
Yes. Now that's cheap entertainment right there.
She'll say, "Mom," she's like, "He's 11. When is he ever going to learn?"
Not until like 32.
He's not. He's not anyway. And I was like, "He's a boy."
What can you say?
I said, "That's all you need to know is he's a boy."
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's why
I get what you're saying. He's never going to learn. Just like Daddy. Daddy never learned. He's never going to learn.
Oh, Lord.
She's good. She's a mini me.
Oh, my goodness. That's so funny.
So we're good until March the 21st.
21st. Okay.
Yep.
I hope on the 21st.
It's your turn?
Yep, it'll be my turn.
Yep.
Okay.
That's what I got. Yay.
Yep.
Oh, yeah,
And,
grapes.
yep. And by then we will have enough information to share about Skip and upcoming things.
Yes,
Our
that's
upcoming things to do a facilities walkthrough.
Right.
And get some out of the way before we go on spring break.
Okay. I'm going to have to just put in turbo mode for the next 2 weeks.
Yep.
Me too.
Well, as much as I can.
Mm-hmm.
As much as I can. I don't want to end up in the hospital and attached to anything. But
No, we don't want that either.
no. Oh, by the way, I'm having a boy. I found out.
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you.
Yay.
So how far along are you now?
5.5.
Oh, there you go. Not too much longer then.
Yeah, by the time we finish this program.
Yeah, working out the summer.
I know, yay.
So yes.
Yay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, if we are good, then we will sign off. And next time we should be able to start really digging into the skip.
Yes.
Yay.
All right.
All right.
Keep working. You need help, text or call.
I will.
All right.
So we'll know what support we can offer.
Okay.
All right.
Pray for me.
I'll shoot you guys the link in just a few minutes.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Okay.
Bye.